Rolling Stones icon, Mick Jagger recently shocked his fans by publicly sharing the tragic troubles he encountered in his 80 years of life. A dishonest marriage and hatred between friends surrounded Mick with no way out. Are you curious what happened to Mick? It's all in this video. Let's get started. Mick Jagger's cheating ruined his marriage to Jerry Hall. Mick Jagger's reputation as a ladies' man is well known, but the extent of his romantic escapades is nothing short of legendary. According to reports in the Irish Independent, Jagger's notoriety for his amorous conquests is even more sensational than commonly believed. His history is filled with clandestine affairs with famous women like Brigitte Bardot and Tina Turner, and he was known for hosting extravagant backstage parties that were so debaucherous that they would make even the infamous Roman Emperor Caligula blush. His romantic encounters were characterized by a pattern of engaging with women only to discard them once he grew bored, to the extent that estimates suggest he has been intimate with over 4,000 women. His behavior led his female therapist to describe him as a sex vampire who found rejuvenation and energy in the company of different partners and couldn't stay faithful, constantly seeking satisfaction in the arms of numerous women. This predilection for multiple romantic liaisons didn't only affect Jagger's love life, it also had a negative impact on other aspects of his personal relationships. Notably, his long-term relationship with Jerry Hall, known for her remarkable patience and forgiveness, eventually ended in divorce. This rupture occurred when Jagger crossed a line by impregnating a Brazilian model in 1999. According to the Journal, when confronted with the situation, Jagger's response was to argue that he and Hall were never legally married. Despite their lavish wedding ceremony in Bali in 1990, Jagger claimed that they had never officially registered the marriage, leading him to assert that their union was never valid. The court subsequently ruled in favor of voiding the marriage, adding another layer of intrigue and controversy to Jagger's complex personal life. Mick Jagger's recent health troubles. Mick Jagger, the iconic rock star, has been a prominent figure in the music world since the 1960s. His enduring career has seen him consistently energizing audiences around the globe. However, despite his timeless stage presence, the passage of time has inevitably taken its toll. Born in 1943, Jagger has continued to tour well into his later years, and it's only natural that his age might catch up with him in some capacity. In early 2019, the music world was surprised when the NME reported that the Rolling Stones had to postpone tour dates due to Mick Jagger's health issues. This unexpected hiatus was a rare occurrence for the legendary band, and it emphasized the significance of the situation. Jagger, who was 75 years old at the time, displayed a remarkable commitment to his craft and his fans by expressing deep regret for allowing health concerns to disrupt the tour. He reassured everyone that he would return to the stage as soon as possible. What made Jagger's recovery even more remarkable was the revelation he made to the NME. He disclosed that he had undergone heart valve replacement surgery, which is certainly not a minor procedure. Despite the seriousness of the surgery, Jagger made a swift recovery, and he was back on his feet in less than 2 weeks after initially announcing the need for the operation. This rapid recuperation showcased not only his resilience, but also his unwavering dedication to his music and the Rolling Stones' enduring legacy. Mick Jagger and the Altamont tragedy. The Rolling Stones' free concert at Altamont is a dark and infamous chapter in the history of popular music. The event, as reported by The Telegraph, was held at the Altamont Motorway, a grim and joyless location that was far from the intended Woodstock-style experience. The atmosphere among the audience was tense and hostile right from the start. Mick Jagger and the band's helicopters were greeted with aggression, with Jagger himself being punched in the face upon arrival. Adding to the ominous backdrop, the Hells Angels were enlisted as a makeshift security force for the concert. However, their presence quickly turned from intimidating to menacing as the day unfolded. As the Rolling Stones prepared to take the stage, the crowd grew increasingly unruly, and the Hells Angels started resorting to violence. To make matters worse, there was an expectation, even from Jagger's own bandmates, that the charismatic frontman would use his influence to quell the rising chaos. Unfortunately, according to bassist Bill Wyman, Jagger appeared timid and unable to assert control over the situation. Tragically, the violence escalated to a horrific climax when an audience member brandished a gun, and in response, the Hells Angels fatally stabbed him as the horrified band members looked on. As Rolling Stone reports, the disastrous concert at Altamont resulted in the deaths of 4 people, and it's widely seen as a turning point that marked the end of the idealistic 1960s. Mick Jagger, reflecting on the tragic event, expressed his disbelief and disappointment, stating, "I thought the scene in San Francisco was supposed to be so groovy. It was terrible. If Jesus had been there, he would have been crucified." The Altamont concert remains a somber and haunting moment in the history of rock music, serving as a stark reminder of the darker aspects that could sometimes overshadow the countercultural movements of the 1960s. A motorcycle gang planned to murder Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger, like many famous individuals, has had his fair share of enemies, but his antagonists took their hostility to a chilling extreme. The genesis of this enmity can be traced back to the tragic events of the 1969 Altamont Speedway concert, as reported by The Telegraph. At this ill-fated concert, a group of Hells Angels was employed as a security force, and one of their members killed an 18-year-old audience member. This incident left a deep impact on Jagger, leading him to decide against ever utilizing the services of the Hells Angels again. However, this decision did not sit well with a specific faction of the Hells Angels. They harbored a vendetta against the iconic singer, which culminated in a disturbing assassination plot. Their intention was to launch an attack on Jagger's holiday residence in Long Island, New York. Their plan involved a seaborne approach, allowing them to bypass the security measures at the front of the building and infiltrate the property through the beachfront garden. But fate intervened on Jagger's behalf when an unexpected storm disrupted their operation, causing all the Hells Angels to be thrown overboard. Though they survived this ordeal, it appeared to deter them from further attempts on Jagger's life, and no additional assassination plots were carried out. In a strange twist, Mick Jagger himself was apparently never informed about the perilous plot against him. The revelation of this assassination scheme only came to light in 2008, when an FBI agent disclosed it for a British TV series. The news subsequently reached the press, making it a shocking revelation for the Rolling Stones frontman and the public alike, as this sinister plan was unveiled long after the fact. Mick Jagger and the death of Loren Scott. Imagine being a highly accomplished and successful individual with a long list of achievements under your belt. However, despite your own merits and talents, your significant other is one of the most famous and iconic figures in the world. This situation virtually guarantees that you'll forever be relegated to the status of a historical footnote, a brief mention in the countless biographies and narratives that chronicle their life. This was the unfortunate reality for Loren Scott, a renowned stylist and fashion designer who catered to Hollywood's elite. Loren Scott was far from an ordinary talent. She had achieved immense success in her own right, building a reputation as a stylish, innovative fashion designer who had earned the admiration and patronage of many of the entertainment industry's most powerful and influential figures. Yet, her connection to the legendary Rolling Stones frontman, Mick Jagger, cast a long shadow over her individual accomplishments. On the surface, Loren Scott's life seemed like a fairy tale. She had amassed wealth, fame, and popularity through her work in the fashion world. Her name was synonymous with luxury and high fashion, and she moved in the upper echelons of the entertainment industry. Her life appeared to be a whirlwind of glamorous events and high-profile clientele. However, Beneath this facade of success and contentment, there was a deeper, unseen struggle. Tragically, in 2014, Lorraine Scott took her own life by hanging herself in her apartment. At the time of her death, Mick Jagger was on tour with the Rolling Stones, and he expressed his profound grief and confusion, stating that he was struggling to understand how my lover and best friend could end her life in this tragic way. This event marked a heartbreaking and shocking end to a relationship that had captivated the public's imagination. Regrettably, Lorraine Scott's suicide largely overshadowed the impressive and fiercely independent woman she was. In the collective memory of the public, she is often remembered not for her extraordinary fashion career, but for her untimely death and her association with Mick Jagger. Her personal achievements, innovative designs, and contributions to the fashion industry are often eclipsed by the glare of the spotlight that shines on her famous partner, making it difficult to find stories that focus on her individual accomplishments rather than her tragic end and high-profile relationship. Mick Jagger's infamous interview. In the present day, the Rolling Stones may appear to be a group of enduring rock legends who are no longer in their youthful prime, often needing backstage support to keep them upright on stage. However, looking back, they were once considered one of the most rebellious and dangerous bands in the music industry, with even a casual interview featuring Mick Jagger capable of containing quotes that could potentially ruin the careers of many other bands. This was exemplified in one of Jagger's particularly notorious interviews from 1978, during which the 35-year-old lead singer discussed the controversial elements of their album, Some Girls. At the time, Keith Richards had already stirred the pot by suggesting that the album was titled Some Girls because the band had simply forgotten the names of their former conquests. Jagger, never one to shy away from controversy, decided to add even more fuel to the fire in an interview with Today. In that interview, he proudly proclaimed that the Stones' next album would be even more racist and sexist. These comments undoubtedly caused shockwaves in the music industry and beyond. It's safe to say that the Mick Jagger of 2018 probably wouldn't look back with pride on the unsavory remarks made by his much younger self during that interview. Over the years, he has toned down his use of hate speech and has evolved in his approach to interviews, reflecting the changes in societal norms and his own growth as an artist and individual. Mick Jagger's trouble with the law. Mick Jagger, like several other members of the Rolling Stones, had his share of run-ins with the law, as reported by Ultimate Classic Rock. Jagger and his partner in crime, Keith Richards, were actually the first band members to find themselves on the wrong side of the law. This occurred in 1967 when the police raided a drug-fueled party hosted by Richards at his home, resulting in the arrest of both Jagger and Richards. In the aftermath, Jagger was initially sentenced to 3 months in prison, while Richards received a 1-year sentence. However, 2 months later, an appeal successfully overturned these sentences. In 1968, Jagger faced another drug-related arrest, this time in the company of his girlfriend, Marianne Faithfull. Their encounter with the law reflected the countercultural spirit of the era and the widespread scrutiny of celebrities' lifestyles. In 1972, Jagger and Richards encountered legal trouble yet again, this time in Boston. They were arrested following an altercation with a photographer. Notably, the mayor of Boston himself intervened and bailed them out so they could make it to a scheduled concert on time. In an interview with the Irish Independent, Jagger described the 1967 arrest, trial, and his brief time spent in jail as an unpleasant and kind of nasty experience. It was exacerbated by the intense media coverage that turned the case into a significant clash between the established authorities and the youth culture of the swinging 60s. These incidents serve as vivid snapshots of a tumultuous period in the life of Mick Jagger, marked by legal troubles and the clash between the rock and roll lifestyle and the societal norms of the time. Mick Jagger and the Queen. Mick Jagger received a knighthood in 2003, but the process was far from smooth. Knighthoods are typically bestowed by the reigning monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. But in this case, the Queen was not enthusiastic about the idea of knighting Mick Jagger. Her reluctance to do so was evident, as she reportedly made it clear that she didn't have the stomach to personally present the honor to him. Moreover, there were claims that she had thwarted attempts by Prime Minister Tony Blair to include Jagger on the honors list on multiple occasions. One key reason for Queen Elizabeth's reluctance was her disapproval of Mick Jagger's close relationship with her sister, Princess Margaret. Their association was evidently a source of concern for the Queen. Additionally, Mick Jagger's history of expressing anti-establishment opinions likely didn't endear him to the monarch. He had famously stated that anarchy is the only slight glimmer of hope, and even referred to Queen Elizabeth II as the chief witch in the past. Despite these hurdles, Mick Jagger eventually received his knighthood, thanks to the intervention of the Prince of Wales. The timing was crucial, as it happened on a day when Queen Elizabeth had scheduled knee surgery. Some sources suggested that the Queen even remarked to a doctor that she would much rather be undergoing surgery than knighting a certain individual at Buckingham Palace. This episode highlights the Queen's clear reservations and personal reasons for not wanting to bestow the honor on the iconic rocker. Mick Jagger's rocky relationship with Keith Richards. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, the primary songwriting duo behind the Rolling Stones, have achieved unparalleled success, but their personal relationship has often been described as a civil war between two of the biggest egomaniacs in the business, as highlighted by Barry Egan of the Irish Independent. Significant strains in their partnership began to surface around 1983, while they were working on the Undercover album. During this period, they had become so at odds with each other that they adamantly refused to be present in the studio at the same time. They even went to the extent of instructing the producer to erase any contributions made by the other. This period marked a low point in their working relationship, as their creative differences and egos clashed. Keith Richards, in particular, took offense at Mick Jagger's perceived indifference to the band and his lackluster solo work. Richards used his own solo album in 1988 as a platform to criticize Jagger's perceived arrogance, adding more fuel to their ongoing feud. According to Ultimate Classic Rock, the tumultuous relationship between these two iconic musicians has put the future of the Rolling Stones in jeopardy multiple times over the years. As of 2015, Richards revealed that much of their strife stemmed from their uncertainty about their standing with each other. Richards pointed to Jagger's control freak tendencies and his constant desire to be numero uno as the core reasons for their disagreements. He stated that he would step in when he felt Jagger was making decisions that were detrimental to the band. At times, Richards would even wake up in the middle of the night to jot down lines he could use to put Jagger in his place. This ongoing tension and creative rivalry have been a defining feature of the iconic partnership between Jagger and Richards in the Rolling Stones. The death of Mick Jagger's father. In 2007, Mick Jagger's father, Basil "Joe" Jagger, passed away. The Telegraph reveals that Mick Jagger and his father had a deeper connection than might initially meet the eye. Despite their seemingly different backgrounds and interests, Joe played a pivotal role in shaping Mick's life and career. Mick Jagger credits his father as his most significant influence. Joe, a puritanical physical education expert, is also mentioned by Reuters for helping popularize basketball in Britain. Joe Jagger's impact on Mick's life began early. He encouraged young Mick to join a choir, which was one of the singer's first forays into music. Joe also supported his son's budding musical aspirations by loaning him money to purchase equipment for his first band, Little Boy Blue and the Blue Boys. Moreover, Joe Jagger played a substantial role in shaping Mick's iconic stage presence and physicality. Mick's distinctive lips, which would become a hallmark of his appearance, were inherited from his father. Additionally, his tireless and athletic performance style, for which he's renowned, was cultivated through the workout regimen instilled by his father from a young age. In a unique father-son collaboration, Joe Jagger and young Mick even made an appearance on an episode of the BBC's Seeing Sport together. They demonstrated their rock climbing and camping skills, providing a television debut for the future rock and roll legend. Despite learning of his father's death just hours before a Rolling Stones concert in Las Vegas, Mick Jagger displayed unwavering professionalism. He decided to go on stage, believing that it's what his father would have wanted. Despite the difficult circumstances, Jagger's stage demeanor during the concert was described as unusually chatty, reflecting his dedication to his craft and his deep connection with his father, who played a significant role in his life and career. Mick Jagger and Marianne Faithfull. Mick Jagger's romantic history includes a tumultuous relationship with singer Marianne Faithfull. As reported by The Express, Faithfull had a colorful love life that involved dating not just one, but 3 Rolling Stones members, alongside other notable figures like David Bowie. However, her 4-year relationship with Jagger was particularly turbulent, drug-fueled, and scandalous. The relationship eventually came to an end under dramatic circumstances. Faithfull suffered a miscarriage, which marked a tragic turning point in their romance. Following the miscarriage, she left Jagger. Adding further complexity to the situation, it was revealed that Faithfull had cheated on Jagger with Keith Richards, a fact that did not sit well with Richards, as Jagger had previously been romantically involved with Richards's girlfriend, Anita Pallenberg. In recent years, Marianne Faithfull has shared her perspective on this era, shedding light on her relationship with Mick Jagger. According to The Telegraph, Faithfull has been candid about the complexities of her image during the 1960s. She revealed that her sultry demeanor and provocative behavior were, in reality, a facade to mask her insecurities and discomfort in the presence of men. She admitted that she relied on drugs and alcohol to cope with intimate encounters. Her revelation suggests that Jagger might have fallen into the category of partners she needed these substances to engage with. What adds an intriguing layer to this story is that, while Faithfull has spoken positively about her night with Keith Richards, she has been conspicuously reticent about sharing details about Mick Jagger, leaving room to speculate that her experience with Jagger may have fallen into the category of relationships, where she felt the need for drugs and alcohol. The situation took another interesting turn in 2011 when Keith Richards made disparaging comments about the size of Jagger's, shall we say, attributes and Faithfull's dissatisfaction with them, as reported by The Independent. When asked about the accuracy of Richards' remarks, Faithfull cryptically replied, "Not quite, but nearly." This remark adds a touch of intrigue and controversy to the already complex relationship between Mick Jagger and Marianne Faithfull. Mick Jagger and drugs. The Rolling Stones' history with drugs is no secret, and while Keith Richards often takes the spotlight for his notorious drug use, Mick Jagger had his own encounters with the law due to drug possession in the late 1960s, as noted by Ultimate Classic Rock. Jagger faced 2 drug possession arrests during this period, narrowly escaping a 3-month jail sentence through a successful appeal. However, Mick Jagger's drug use extended beyond mere recreational experimentation. According to The Telegraph and Jagger's ex-partner, Jerry Hall, when they began their relationship in 1977, Jagger confided in her that he had once spent an entire year using LSD daily and had also been smoking heroin. Hall, feeling disgusted by this revelation, issued an ultimatum to Jagger. She told him he had to choose between getting clean or losing her. Remarkably, Jagger opted to give up drugs to salvage the relationship. Interestingly, Jagger had been known to criticize Keith Richards for his heroin use in interviews. This revelation about Jagger's own history with heroin use could be viewed as somewhat hypocritical, though it does add a layer of authenticity to his remarks on the subject. It also underscores the challenges and complex dynamics that characterized the rock and roll lifestyle of the era, where drug use was prevalent among many musicians, including the iconic members of the Rolling Stones. What do you think about the troubles in Mick Jagger's complicated life? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.